Hey, what's up, everybody? This is MJ, and welcome to our Tuesday training broadcast where we will be talking about how to bankroll or fund your boutique on a dime. So, this is probably the most important type of topic or most popular type of topic that I talk about because we're talking about money. So many people want to start businesses, not just shops and boutiques, but really any type of business, but they don't know how to finance the project. Because what's true and what we need to level set on from the beginning is it takes money to make money. And so as awesome as it would be for you to be able to start your business, to open your shop, to start your boutique, without any money or, with some of the other ways that we're going to talk about today, as awesome as it would be for it to be very easy, a lot of times it's not. And you have to be able to spend money in order to make money. And so where is it going to come from? Because what you have to know is that when you see these businesses, new businesses starting, these people are not starting their businesses. They're starting from nothing, but they still had to spend money to make money. So we're going to be talking about but they weren't rich. That's what I'm trying to say. We're going to be talking about how these people were able to get started when they were not wealthy. Many of them were broke, quite frankly. So how is a person who's broke, whose credit's in the toilet, whose whose checking account is in the toilet, how are they able to start businesses? And indeed, those individuals are the most because they have the strongest reasons why the business needs to be successful, but still they didn't have any money. So how did they get started? I don't want you to think that everybody who has a successful business or one that grows really fast must have been independently wealthy already. That's not the case. Usually the people that are starting out are not independently wealthy. That's why they're starting their boutique, because they want to get to a place where they're not dependent on somebody else's dream, i.e. a job, an employer, to fund their future. So get your notepad and your pen out and get ready to write, because this is a big one. So the first thing that you have to do if you are wanting to bankroll your boutique, your dream shop on a dime, which means you don't have much money, or at least in your mind you don't have much money, is first of all, and I know this is going to sound cliche, but you have to believe in your own dream. I can't tell you how many people say they want the 6 or 7 figure lifestyle, say that they want to have a shop where they can do their own thing, move the way they want to move, set their own hours, have unlimited income, and all of these things. But when you really dig just beneath the surface, they don't even really believe in their own dream. And indeed, some people are even afraid to verbalize their dream or to allow themselves to feel their dream, because they're afraid that it's beyond them, or that it's too out of reach, or it's too unbelievable. But that's what a dream is. It has to be something that's not existing right now and that seems like it can't be realistic, because that's when you're dreaming beyond where you are. If it's something that's attainable from where you are right now, that's not a dream. And if you're not willing to speak those things that are not as though they are, and allow yourself to feel something beyond what you think you can achieve with your job, you're never going to be able to get there. What is true is that you are never going to be able to outperform or outpace your own mindset, your own mentality, your own dream. And if you don't believe in your dream and you can't even put it into words, or you're afraid to say, you know what, I want a $500,000 house, or I want to be able to take a trip out of the country every other month, or I want to be able to take care of my aging parents, or I want to set up college funds for all my grandkids so they never have to pay a dime. If you don't even want to say that aloud, and you're coming into it with some I want to make $60,000 a year, that's not a dream, man. That's a job. I'm just going to be honest with you. There's a lot of jobs that can make you 60K. And I'm not saying that that's not beyond where you are now, but that's not a dream that's going to way you need to be motivated to move into the space you need to move into to build the dream, to build the business that you want. The big things in life that you achieve only come when you are pushed outside of your comfort zone. There's nothing great in your comfort zone, because if it's in your comfort zone, you already have it, or it's right there next to you. The great things in life, those things you're afraid to put into words, that's the stuff you need to be pushing towards. The things that you know you can't have unless you do something bigger than where you are now. So the first thing that you have to do to bankroll your boutique on a dime is to first believe in your dream and have a dream that's bigger than anything that you can accomplish right where you are now. That means for those of you who think that you're going to be able to bankroll your boutique using a little extra money you have after you pay your bills from your paycheck, you're already making six figures, which almost nobody I talk to in my coaching business has done. Unless you're already making six figures, you're not going to be able to afford it, because guess what? You first probably decided to build your boutique or start a boutique because what they pay you is not enough, because they're underpaying you, or maybe they're paying you what's fair for what you do, but it's not enough. That's why you're pushing out of your comfort zone, right? If you already making $150,000, motivation for leaving your job might be different. Maybe it's too much stress, too much time. There could be something else at play. But usually when people are comfortable financially, a lot of times they don't go and do a lot of that extra stuff to move into a different space in life. But when you are having your back against the wall, when you making $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a year, and you have 3-4 people in your family and it's not enough, that's when you are pushing. And that's what you need, is that back against the wall situation, whatever that looks like for you. And so saying I want to make 60, 70,000, that's a person playing small because they don't want to have to really speak what they really want. And I'm not saying what I think, I'm saying what I know. And if I'm stepping on your toes, just say ouch, but keep listening. Because a lot of times we play small, or we speak small so we can play small. But starting a business in this retail marketplace right here, that's not for playing small. Even if you don't want to be, make $30 million a year and all those big dreams, which usually nobody complains when they have that kind of money, no matter what station in life you're in. But even if that's not your dream right now, you want to have a dream that you can believe in, that's beyond where you are right now and anything that you can achieve. And I cannot stress enough how important your mind is to the success you have. We always think it's about money, and that might be why you're tuned in. You're looking for the money. We're going to get to that. But guess what? If you don't have the right mentality, the other stuff I'm going to be talking about here shortly will not work for you, because you're going to sabotage yourself because your dream's not big enough. So believe me, believing in your dream and having a dream that's bigger than anything that you can believe in is the first step to bankrolling your dream when you are living on a dime right now. The second thing you need to do is tied to that first one, and that is you need to let go of unrealistic expectations. Now, I just talked to you about having a dream that's beyond what seems realistic. So we're not talking about letting go of a dream that seems unrealistic. We're talking about expectations about where this money is going to come from. It's all well and good to have this fantasy about somebody else giving you $20,000, $30,000, $50,000, or a dream that says all I need is about $5,000 or $10,000 to start this boutique, and that's going to get me through the tough times so I get where I'm going. So that's expectations, not wanting to have enough money to start you out and thinking that the larger amounts are going to come from somewhere else. So I'm going to take that one on first. It's a fantasy because banks are not in the business of taking long shots. They are in the business of looking for sure things, because they're in the business to make money off of you needing to use their money. So the people they lend money to are people who have been proven in business over years, or who've been in business before, or who are partnering with some other people that have proven themselves, whatever those things are. And banks are not in the business, as I'm going to talk about in a moment, of lending small amounts. But first, we're going to talk about the large amounts. You might believe in your product and in what you're going to do. Your idea might be great. You might even have a good business plan, but banks are going to look at you as a risk that they're not willing to take, because you're not tried and true. you're right out the gate. Does not mean you won't succeed. It just means that lenders are not out here giving typical business loans to people in that situation. Now, were there some situations recently where the SBA was doing some things for people? Yes. But even that, they wanted you to have been in business longer than last week. I just got my tax ID number. Give me $50,000. They're not listening to that. So you have to let go of the idea that a bank is going to lend you money, and even investors, unless they are in the business of specifically working with people who are new to the game, which most lenders and investors are not, they're not going to stick their neck out for you. You know, a lot of times we watch that. There are times when individuals will come on there with an idea and they will get their idea bought. But what they're on there doing is selling ideas to a businessman or woman who can then make it a reality. It's not even the person who came on Shark Tank with the idea. It's them maybe selling their idea. Maybe they get to continue participating in the business. Maybe they sell it outright. But those are seasoned businessmen behind the Shark Tank role who are able to make that idea into a reality. So again, we're talking about experience. You as a newbie are not Shark Tank ready, and that's okay. But let go of the idea that you're going to go on Shark Tank and somebody's going to buy your great, untried idea for all this money. It's going to be great. And by the same token, banks are not signing up and lining up to give away large amounts of money. And I say give and not lend because they know, and this is why they don't often do it, that there's likely they're going to lose their money and you're not going to pay it back. Most small businesses fail in the first 5 years. Up to 70-something% based on the last statistics fail in those first, it's really the first 10 years, but really most of them are gone in the first 5 years, okay? So that means banks look at that and they say, nice lady, but we're not going to give you our money. And the other unrealistic expectation that new people run into is, oh yeah, I borrowed $5,000, not what they call a business loan, but it's usually a personal loan, or $10,000. And I'm like, what you going to do with $5,000 or $10,000? That's not enough to pay your overhead for a couple of months. And you might be thinking, well, I'm starting my shop online. What do you mean overhead? Every business has overhead. It may take on different forms. You know, it may not be rent on a building, but you're going to have some type of overhead, and you have to have cash flow to sustain you until all those orders come in. You might think I'm going to drop my product the first month and I'm going to have $10,000 in sales. Yeah, that doesn't always happen. You can't guarantee that. You might have to pay bills out for some months before the revenue overtakes those expenses. That's typical business. Let go of the idea, as far as unrealistic expectations, that you're going to be able to just use a little bit of money to fund a big dream. And the less money you invest in your business starting out means it's going to take longer for you to get a return. I'm going to say that again. Those of you that want to just spend $200 here, $500 here, you're patting yourself on the back because you spent $700 on your business. If you keep it at that rate, it's going to take you 15 years. And you're not, let's just say it, you're not going to last that long, because business is not meant to be done, a real business is not meant to be done in tiny baby bite-sized pieces. Eventually, your expenses are going to overtake overtake the money that you do have, and it's not going to last. There has to be some risk, and I'm not talking about small risk that doesn't give you this feeling in the pit of your stomach. I'm talking about big risk, where if you lose this money, it's going to hurt. That's entrepreneurship, and you have to be willing to live with that kind of risk all the time. Even when you're making $100,000 a year, the deals are just bigger and there's more at stake and more you have to lose. So the unrealistic expectations that I can just spend what I can spare after I pay my bills out of my regular paycheck, ma'am, that's not going to work. You need to be having a real influx of cash into your business to really make it grow at any type of rate. Now, if you have until you're 70, 80 years old to get it off the ground, yeah, limp along. But for those of you who you need to be gone from your job yesterday, because then people are plucking your nerves, you don't have time for that. I hope it works, and I'm gonna give it 10 years, and I'm gonna put $300-$400, even $2,000 or $3,000 into it every once in a while, and I hope it works. If you got that kind of time, best wishes. But for those who are like, I need this done yesterday, my kids are growing up without me, college is around the corner, you need to work it like a real business. And that means you have to invest in it like a real business. I cannot stress this enough. How many people thinking they can get a lot? Not work that way. It does not work that way, especially my believers who, and I'm going to step on some toes here. That's all right, because I'm a believer as well, who God's going to work it out. Yes, he is, but he rewards our faithfulness and he rewards the effort that we put in. He's not raining money down from the sky like that. So you can't go into it with a scarcity mindset and think you're going to attract abundance. It does not work that way. So letting go of unrealistic expectations is going to get you far. So now you're believing in your dreams and you had a real dream that motivates you. And then the second thing is you're letting go of unrealistic expectations that banks and investors are out here just throwing money at untried entrepreneurs and untried ideas, and letting go of the idea also that you can just put a little bit in and it's just going to magically manifest into this big payday. Doesn't work like that. So let that go. Okay. I spent time there because we're going to go fast after this, because it just comes down to, okay, now you got the right mentality towards it. Now you got the right attitude towards it. It's just time to execute. So now it's time for you to shift your mind, your mentality from a don't have to a do have. From don't have to do have. This also comes into that scarcity poverty mindset as opposed to a wealth and abundance mindset. If you having it, you will create more of that. And you will find evidence that you don't have it. That's how that works. That's how a psychology, it's mindset, is whatever you want to call it. That's how human beings are. Whatever you speak is what is true. So if you're constantly saying, I don't have this, I can't afford that, I can't take a chance on that, guess what, ma'am? You will have more of that. Don't let anybody convince you that you can talk about lack, that you can talk about what you can't afford and what you can't do. And here's the thing. You disguise it as making a wise choice. Oh, I can't risk my this or that. I can't take a chance. I want to make a smart decision. Well, let me tell you something. Entrepreneurship, if you look at it on paper, it's not smart. Every entrepreneur I know is crazy. Up to and including myself and all of you out there who are serious about owning your own, that's crazy. Because who takes on that kind of risk when you can have a job? Now, let me tell you something. To me, a job is risky because you're putting your future in somebody else's hands. But let's just say by the regular mindset of most people, a job is a safer route than entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is crazy. So if you're looking for what sounds like a smart idea, taking on the risk and taking a chance on losing money and taking a lot of time, and maybe it works and maybe it doesn't, that's crazy. So get out the idea that it's going to make sense. Let go of the idea. So I guess we're talking about more unrealistic expectations. Let go of the idea that you're going to be comfortable with entrepreneurship, because you're not. No matter how long I've worked for myself, it's always a little bit scary to spend money knowing that the results aren't guaranteed. But guess what? There's no guarantees in life. And you do it anyway. You do it anyway. You what? Say it. You do it anyway, with the discomfort, with that feeling in the pit of your stomach, right? So you can't approach entrepreneurship saying, oh, well, I want to be smart. I need to hang on to my money. Guess what? If you are thinking about building a business because you don't have much, hanging on to that little bit that you have in your checking account, your savings account, your little 401k that's got $20,000 or $30,000 in it, do you know how far that's going to go in retirement? A few months. You need to get some real money. You need to build wealth. And that's going to be able to be yours if you're smart. And since entrepreneurship is a part of your plan, you've got to be willing to invest in it and go from, I need to hold on to this and just in case. If you're looking for just in case safety, ma'am, entrepreneurship ain't for you, because there are no guarantees. But as COVID has shown us, there's no guarantee job. So it's better to work for yourself and be able to guarantee that you're not going to fire or lay yourself off, right? So you're talking about I can't afford to do that. I talk to people all the time and they think they're sounding smart. And, I don't have skin in the game either way. No matter what somebody chooses to do, whether you move forward with your dream or stay stuck in scarcity, I don't have a dog in the fight. I'm just here to help, right? But when you think you're sounding smart by saying, I can't afford that, I'm not willing to risk that, guess what? If you're not willing to risk it, again, why would somebody else be willing to risk it on you? That's why banks don't play with y'all. Banks aren't playing with y'all because they know good and well you're coming from a fear-based mindset that says, I'm not going to invest in my dream. And they can smell it all over you. And they're not willing to either. I'm kind of all over the place, but I just feel so passionately about this. You've got to get out of that what I don't have mindset and say, I do have it. I just need to materialize it. There's 8 billion people on the planet, and a relative, well, I won't say a relative few, but those of us in this country, in the United States, we are blessed to not even come close to knowing what real poverty is. Now, there are some people who do struggle, and I'm not discounting them, but those of you watching me, if you got time to be on social media, you're probably not destitute if you're listening to somebody talking about entrepreneurship. So let's keep it real, and let's say our poverty is not the same as everybody's who's really in a situation, okay? With that being said, the relative few of us on this planet who are not struggling, and those of us in this country, we do have. If you have a job, you do have. If you got a little bit of money in the bank and you're able to cover your bills, even if you don't have extra, you do have it. If you got money in your 401k, you do have it. If you're able to pay for a vacation once a year, you do have it. If you're able to buy clothes or take yourself out to eat, guess what, ma'am? You do have it. So today we're talking about, again, being honest with yourself and getting out of that mindset of what you don't have and what you can't afford. Because if you can't afford to invest in your business, then it's not going to come to fruition because it has to start with you. And that's going to take us into our next place where we're actually going to talk about where money can come from. First, you need to be willing to use the money that you have access to right now. Liquid money, cash, checking account, savings account, even retirement accounts, and money that you might not, again, feel comfortable using it, but this isn't about comfort. Owning a business is not about comfort. Everybody who owns a business has their neck out on the line every day. I just left a car lot today where I was driving my dream cars, and the person that owns that car lot, you know how much money they have spent in cars that sit out on that lot day after day, week after week, sometimes month after month, because people haven't come to buy them yet. Millions of, and it was a small car lot. That's entrepreneur taking a risk. A lot of you that aren't willing to spend 30 grand on your dream, are you really serious? Are you really serious? Talk to somebody who's spending $300,000 or $400,000 on a McDonald's, and it's going to be years before they turn a profit. That kind of stuff, that is boss, right? And you're just talking about a boutique. You might be able to get into your boutique for 10, 20 grand. Might take 30, might get to 50 before you really start turning a profit. It may be a little bit more. But there are entrepreneurs out here really putting their necks on the line. People who are buying real estate and doing stuff. And you're not willing to use the money in your savings account. You're not willing to take money out of a 401k or cash against some type of life insurance policy and that kind of stuff. So liquid money, I've kind of shifted into money that's been saved. But you have access to money. You have access to stuff. You have access to create new money as well by selling things, by working extra, by getting back money that was lent to you, by asking people to believe in you. And again, when you don't want to reach out to people who know you personally, or even who know you as acquaintances and tangentially, and ask them to invest in you, that's again where you need to work on your belief. Because if you're not willing to invest and you don't want to invest, Where do you think it's going to come from? Where do you think it's going to come from? It's not going to come out of the sky. Wishing for it, hoping for it, crossing your fingers. That's not where you are able to bankroll a boutique on a dime. It comes from getting real about whether you really living on a dime or not. And again, if you have a job, even if it's not a job that pays much, you're further ahead than the majority of the people on this planet, from what I understand. There's people living with real destitute situations, real poverty. You, man, who are watching this, I love your heart for wanting your dream, but you got to ask yourself how serious you are if you're trying to hold back. And the thing is, let's say you have 30 grand in a retirement account and you want to hang on to that just in case. We done already talked about how short that's going to last you. That'll last you several months in retirement. And then what? You won't invest it, though, in the solution to where you will never again have to say, I only have 30 grand saved up. You see what I mean? But a lot of you are afraid because you don't believe in your dream and you don't believe that you can do it. You are looking at failure as what's going to really happen instead of saying, what if it succeeds? You're focusing on what if it fails. And that is why you're not able to bankroll your boutique. You're looking for somebody else to believe in you and you believe in you. It kind of reminds me of when pedestrians step out, they'll be jaywalking, they step off the sidewalk and walk across from you, and they look at you in the car that you're driving and daring you to hit them. They are depending on you to care more about their life than they do, which is stupid. If I hit you, depending on how it goes down legally, I might just get off with negligent manslaughter, might not get in trouble at all. You'll be dead on a wheelchair. I always marvel at people like that. But that's what it's like when you think that somehow your dream is going to get funded outside of you when you're not willing to do it. So when we talk about bankrolling on a dime, most people aren't really living on a dime. I talk to people all the time. Have them fund their dream to get the help they need so they don't have to fear failure. They will actually be able to guarantee their own success. Nobody can do that for you, but you can guarantee it if you have the guidance, if you have the knowledge, if you have the accountability and support, and they're still not willing to do it. Talking about somehow it's going to be a way is going to be made. And again, for my believers, we like to use God as a crutch. I'm a believer, but faith without works is dead. And so if you're thinking that God's just going to rain money out the sky to fund your boutique when you're not willing to take money out of savings, sell some stuff, work extra, and take a chance on something that's going to, I ain't saying it's not going to make you sick to your stomach. It is. It is. And you need to do it anyway, because that is the moxie of an entrepreneur. That is the grit. That is the guts that it takes. And I am here. I'm so passionate about it because I'm sick of people out here on the internet selling false hope that somehow you're going to be an overnight success with no investment on your part, or just just spending enough that it doesn't scare you. If you don't put in much, you're not going to get out much. And Coach MJ, I'm going to tell you the truth, even if you don't like it, because I want to see you succeed. I'm going to go. A lot of times you're hesitant to spend your own money because you are afraid of failure. And a lot of that comes from because you don't know what you're doing. You don't know what you're doing, and that's okay. You are an expert in whatever your product is that you want to sell, or even if you have some services that you want to sell in your shop as well. It's okay if you're not an expert in business. What's not okay is thinking that you can succeed in business winging it in any short amount of time. You can wing it, but guess what? You're going to pay with precious time that you can't get back, precious money that you don't want to just see squandered. Because again, your money is hard earned. You don't have time for that. There is no easy payday. You're either going to pay up front and do things the right way, or you're going to pay over time down the road. It's kind of like, I love a good analogy, but it's kind of like buying cheap furniture. You ever bought cheap furniture and the thing buckled under you, a couch or a chair? You can either invest in multiple chairs, paying a little bit at a time, and you keep buying cheap crap that falls apart, or you can pay for it one time and get quality that lasts. And I'm so thankful to my mother. She taught me to buy quality. So the things that I have, I spend money on them and they last. So I'm not buying a new couch or a new other year because somebody sits on it and it breaks or it buckles or it falls apart or it rips or whatever. The same thing is true about business. You have to either invest in it and treat it like quality that you want it to be, where it creates that flexibility, that income, that lifestyle that you want, or treat it like a side gig and keep piecemealing and putting a little in here and watching it fail. And meanwhile, your life is being tricked off working a job that you hate. And that's the biggest sacrifice. The time you spend not living your dream while you're trying to get it the easy way. That's the real loss. So if you have listened to what I am saying and you know it's true, I'm speaking strong today, and maybe you don't like, you clicked off and you came back and you're here now because you know I'm telling the truth. You know there's no easy payday. You know it's going to take you bankrolling your own dream. It's going to take sacrifice. Like the 4 ladies in Louisville that I talk about all the time. They believe in the campsite that they want to open up. And the bank told them, you got to come up with $400,000 before we'll lend you the rest of the $1 million plus that you want. Guess what? Those ladies went into their retirement. They went into their savings and they came up with the $400K. And they're not wealthy people. They work jobs. They're in the medical field. I don't think any of them are physicians, but they believe it. They're Black women just like you. They believe in it and they're putting their money where their mouth is and their dream where their mouth is. So if you are ready to put your money where your mouth is and stop talking about it and waiting for somebody else to do it, but you are ready to bankroll your boutique on a dime because you do have it, then I invite you to reach out and book a free breakthrough interview with me where we're going to talk about, okay, MJ, you said I have it. Show me how. I'm willing. It's going to be scary, but I'm willing to do it. There are no guarantees, but I'm willing to do it because guess what? I don't want to stay where I am. You got to be more afraid of staying stuck where you are than of anything you have to do to step in your dream. And if that's you, I'm not talking about curious, looky-loos, dabblers, people who think they're going to pull the wool over my eyes. I've been doing this a long time, and I can smell a person who's not serious within 5 seconds of being on with them. But if you are not that person, if you are sincere and you just need help doing it, figuring out what money you should use to bankroll your business, let's have a conversation. MelanieHunter.com/chat. Melanie with 2 L's, Hunter.com/chat. Book your call. My calendar's open for the next couple of days. And then be sure to fill out the application that pops up after that, because it's going to help you get the most value from our time together. It's going to take out some of the guesswork, save us some time so we can get right to finding the money that you already have. Because guess what? Once you're willing to do for yourself, resources open up and all of a sudden stuff that you never dreamed that would come your way all of a sudden become available. But it's not going to happen because you're a nice lady. It's not going to happen because you have a cool product. It's going to happen because you put your shoulder to the wheel and you're willing to put, again, your money where your mouth is, not the bank. Banks ain't looking at you, especially first-time entrepreneurs, and that's okay. We don't need them. You got it. Trust me, you got it. But you also need help knowing how to spend the money once you find it. That's the other part of the fear that we can work on together. You don't have to be guessing. Should I spend my money this way? Should I spend it that way? Nothing worse than having $8,000 worth of inventory sitting in your garage because you have no idea how to move it. Again, I hear this story all the time because they put the cart before the horse. So they were spending the money, but didn't know what to spend it on. And so they still aren't successful. We don't want that to happen either. It's not just about spending money. It's about spending it on the right things. That's what we're going to talk about in the breakthrough interview that you're going to go out and book right now. But it starts with a decision to take your business seriously. We're not going to come on and play games. We're going to get right to the truth and get right to the solution and get you started right away if we're fit to work together. So I look forward to meeting you. Book your call right now. It's a free call. www.melaniehunter.com. /you're serious. Only for people who are willing to invest in your business. If you want a free ride, MJ's not the one. I invested in my business and that's why I have results. You need to do the same thing. And I'm going to show you how if we work together, but you got to get on the call with me. Book your call now and we'll talk soon. It's been my pleasure to share with you. I'll be back later this week with another exciting and passionate training broadcast. But until then, don't wait. Book your call now and we'll chat soon. Take care. Bye-bye.